Dear learners, in this class, we are going to see some basic Python commands, how we can execute them by using Jupyter Notebook. So let's start with some basic Python commands. Here we have a print function to print whatever text is given as parameter to it. So you can see the command here, print hello students. So for the function print, we are passing a text as parameter, which is printed on the screen by the Python compiler. So you can see the output here. The hello students is printed as it is. Now you have a function called as absolute in order to get the absolute value of a number. Sometimes when you are trying to find some deviations in the predictions, then you get positive values as well as negative values. But you are just interested in the deviation in the prediction, but not the sign of the deviation. You just wanted to know the difference in the predictions, but you are not interested whether it is a positive or a negative deviation. In such cases, you have to neutralize the negative value. For that, you can use this absolute function, and whatever number you pass to it. If it is a positive number, it doesn't make any change. But if it is a negative number, then it will print the positive value of that negative number. So when you execute this command, you can see the output that negative value, the number minus 4 is printed as 4. Now, if you want to assign the text to a variable and then print it, what you have to do? Give the variable name and then the text value has to be assigned to the variable name and print the variable. So what we are doing here is, you might have observed in other programming languages like C, C++, whenever you try to use some variables, first you have to declare them. But Python is more user friendly and it reduces the complexity in programming. So it helps us to use the variables as and when they are required. Now, if you want to use a variable myString here, you're assigning some value to it. Based on the value that is assigned to the variable, it assumes that data type for that variable randomly. Okay, so instead of text value hello welcome here, if I assign a number to it, if I assign a numerical value to it, then my string is assumed to be of a numerical data type, say integer or float. But here I'm assigning a text value. So whenever you get the data type of this variable, it will be given as a text. Okay, so when you assign this text value to my string and print it, or when you assign a number to variable a, let us see what happens. Let us also give a. Now let's print both of them. Now, when my string is printed, the value assigned to it, hello welcome, is printed, and when a is printed, the value assigned to it, 4, is printed. Now let us see in the next command what are the data types that are assumed by the Python compiler for both of these variables, because we haven't declared them initially. We are just trying to assign some value directly, right, by using the variable. Now, when you print the data type, you can see that my string, where a string has been assigned, that data type is string, str. And remember, in Python, every data type is treated as a class and every variable is treated as an object. Now, in this case, we are having the data type for my string variable as str. It denotes a string. And you can see the data type for a, it is denoted as int. So the data type for a is integer because you have assigned a numerical value to it. Now, if you want to raise a number to another number, means if you want to calculate 2 square or 2 cube, you can use a function called as power, POW, POW 2, 3. Now, we are trying to raise 2 to the power of 3, which will give us the value, calculated value 8. Right? Now, if you want to execute the previous command, you can just give an underscore. Here, did you see this underscore? You can give this underscore symbol which executes the previously executed expression. If you are printing something or if you are giving some markdown documentation in a cell, in such cases it will not print anything, but if you have evaluated an expression, most recently evaluated expression will be executed if you use this underscore symbol. Right? So what is the previously executed expression here? 2 raised to the power of 3. So that is executed and it will print the value 8. Now let us see some mathematical operations. Here, if you want to perform division, just give 5 divided by 2, which will give us 2.5. Now, if you want to get only the integer part, you are not interested in the decimal part. For some purpose of calculation, you just wanted only integer value. Then you can perform integer division. Right? If you use a single slash, it is called as normal division. If you use double slash, then it is called as integer division, which will give you the result with only the integer value and not the decimal value. So when I execute this, you can see the difference. Initially, it was displayed as 2.5, but because I am performing integer division here, it is displayed as 2. If I want to execute the most recently executed command, I can just give underscore. So it gives the previous value to me. Now, if you want the user to interact with the interface and enter some value, in such cases, you can use input. There is a function called as input. Input enter login so that it will it will create a text box into which we can enter the details, and that details will be added to this user variable. Whatever is entered by the text box, that is displayed by input function with the prompting message enter login, whatever value we enter, that will be assigned to user variable. Right? So when I execute this, you can see that it is prompting the user to enter a login. Okay, and also notice this star symbol here. In the place of number, it is showing the star symbol. That indicates that the cell is still under execution. Not only here, when you're using some time-taking loops, when you're executing some time-taking loops, then you might think why the result is not being displayed. In such cases, you can understand by seeing this star symbol that still the cell is under execution. Once a number appears there, then you can know that the cell completed its execution. Now, here it is waiting for me to enter some data. That is why it is showing still under execution. Now, when I type some value here and press enter, now you can see enter login, the value that is entered, right? So that value is assigned to user. Now, when I display this user, I can directly use the variable name or I can use it within print also. Both are fine. Now this displays Sri, that is the enter login, which is assigned to the user variable. Right? Now if you want to take some more values and add them and display them, let's see how it works. Here I am giving or let me just remove this int first and explain you why this int is required. Okay, now we have it's already under execution, that is why it is showing an error. Let us go to kernel and press interrupt. That will interrupt the execution. Or if it doesn't work, sometimes interrupt doesn't work, then you can go for restart and clear all outputs. So the kernel will be restarted, right? Now you can come to this cell and execute this so that it will prompt for entering number 1, which will be assigned to the value v1, and entering number 2, which will be assigned to value v2. Now when you give some value 6 and press enter, it will prompt for second value and press enter. Then you can see that the sum value is not being displayed. The sum should be actually 13, but it is displaying as 6 and 7 both concatenated together, because whatever value is entered through input function, they'll be treated as strings. So you have to convert them to integer in order to add them, in order to evaluate them as numerical values. That is why we have used initially int here, right? So we are using a converter, that is int, in order to convert the entered string value into integer. Now when you execute the same cell and press and give the input as 6 and 7, now you can see that the value is evaluated as 13. 6 and 7 are added and the sum is printed. Right? That is the importance of conversion with int. Right? This enables type conversion. Now this cell is not required for me, so I can just go to that cell and click on this scissors symbol. With that, the cell will be removed. Means I'm cutting that, I'm deleting that particular cell which is not required for me. Now if you want to, let us give some numbers which will enable us to get some good division value. 10 and 5. When added, they give us 15. Now, if you divide V1 by V2, 10 divided by 5, then it gives us the value 2. And V2 divided by V1, it gives us the value 0.5. Now, if you perform integer division, then you'll get only 0. Or if you just perform the division with V1 divided by V2, now you can get it as 2. Did you observe here? Here we got the output as 2.0, but here we are performing integer division, so only integer values will be displayed and the decimal values will be neglected. So it just gives the result as 2. Now you can also use some relational operators. What are the relational operators? Greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, right? You have some relational operators, and always the relational operators will give you a Boolean expression as the result, either true or false, right? So, and when you take this 3 greater than 4, it is evaluated as 3 is greater than 4? No. So it is evaluated as false. And 4 is lesser than 5. It is true. So the Boolean value will be true for this expression. Now, you are using a Boolean operator OR to combine both of them. Right? Sorry, not Boolean operator, logical operator, in order to combine both of them. Now we are combining this Boolean evaluated expression and this expression, and their results are combined with this logical operator. So 3 greater than 4 gives us false, 4 lesser than 5 gives us true, false or true. What will be, to what result it will be evaluated? True or false, false or true here will give us true, because it is a logical OR operator. Now, if we replace with a logical AND operator, false and true will give us false. Right? This is very simple to understand, because all of you have the basic knowledge of programming. This kind of evaluations are very easy for us to understand. Right? Now, if we take it as a shorthand expression of this previous command, instead of using AND, we can directly use 3 lesser than 4 greater than 5 and when we execute this, it gives as false. Now, what do we mean by this 3 lesser than 4 and 4 greater than 5? This is the shorthand expression for that. Instead of writing 3 lesser than 4 and 4 greater than 5, you can combine by removing the logical and still it performs the same way. That is why 3 lesser than 4 is true and 4 greater than 5 is false, and true and false will be evaluated to false, right? And when we take a string and perform some mathematical operation on it, then the string will be replicated. Say here we are taking the command hi replicated 4 times, multiplied 4 times. When you execute this, you can see that hi is displayed 4 times, right? This is how we can perform mathematical operations on strings also. They won't be evaluated as numerical values, but string will be replicated. Right? In the next class, let us see about the basic data structures in Python like lists and dictionaries.